This is Mamuni. Thank you so much for being Amar Baba.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show how to calculate the capital employed in the chapter Accounting Ratios, step by step in the easiest way. So let's get started. Chalo, shuru kora jak. Now, what is accounting ratios? Accounting ratio is an important subset of financial ratios or a group of metrics used to measure the efficiency and profitability of a company based on its financial reports. They provide a way of expressing the relationship between one accounting data point to another and are the basis of ratio analysis. Accounting ratios are also known as financial ratios. Okay? Now, what is capital employed? Well, capital employed indicates the investment in the business, the total amount of funds used or employed for expansion or acquisition of profits by a firm, and the total value of assets dedicated towards the business. Okay? Now let's see how to calculate capital employed. Okay? How to calculate capital employed? Capital employed can be calculated or computed by any of the following two methods. First method, that is the liability side approach. Capital employed is equal to shareholders' funds plus long-term debts or long-term loans or long-term borrowings, all the same, minus fictitious assets or unamortized expenses, all the same, minus accumulated losses, minus non-current investments, that is non-trade investment, means investments made outside the business. Okay? So what is shareholders' funds? Shareholders' funds are the funds available to shareholders or stakeholders after all the liabilities have been met in the event of a company's liquidation. It is the capital amount belonging to its shareholders or stakeholders after paying off the total liabilities. Okay? So what is long-term debt or long-term loans or long-term borrowings? So long-term debts or long-term loans or long-term borrowings are the long-term liabilities which mature after 1 year. Okay? So what is fictitious assets or unamortized expenses? Fictitious assets or unamortized expenses or miscellaneous expenses are the incidental expenses which cannot be classified as manufacturing, selling, and administrative expenses. These expenses are not a revenue in nature and hence shown on the asset side of the balance sheet under the head miscellaneous expenses and should be written off over a period of time. Suppose a huge advertisement expenses is done in a year. The advertisement expenditure has to be amortized over 5 years. In the first year, 1/5 will be debited to profit and loss account and the balance 4/5 will be shown on the asset side of the balance sheet under the head miscellaneous expenditure. Okay? Now what is accumulated losses? Accumulated losses means the losses that have been carried forward from previous years and the amount shown in the audited balance sheet of the company. Okay? Now what is non-current investments? That is non-trade investments. Non-trade investments are those investments that are made to earn income by investing surplus funds, but the investments are not for the purpose of expansion and advancement of own business. Okay? Whereas trade investment are those investments that are invested in another enterprise for the expansion and advancement of own business. Okay? Now what is shareholders funds? Now what is shareholders funds? Shareholders funds is equal to equity share capital plus preference share capital plus securities premium plus general reserve plus capital reserve plus other reserves plus credit balance, that is positive balance of profit and loss account, or credit balance of profit and loss statement, that is profit for the year. What is long-term debts or long-term loans or long-term borrowings? Long-term debts or long-term loans or long-term borrowings is equal to debentures plus mortgage loan plus bank loan plus loans from financial institutions plus public deposits. Okay? What is fictitious assets or unamortized expenses? Fictitious assets or unamortized expenses is equal to underwriting commission plus share issue expenses plus preliminary expenses plus discount on issue of shares. Okay? Accumulated losses. Accumulated losses is equal to debit balance or negative balance of profit and loss account or debit balance of profit and loss statement. Okay, that is loss for the year. What is non-current investments? Non-current investment is equal to non-trade investments. That is investments made outside the business, not for own business. Okay. Now let's go through the problem. Problem number 1. Accounting ratios. Following is the balance sheet of Mamuni Limited as on 31st March 2050. Number 1. Equity and liabilities. Shareholders funds. Share capital is equal to 2,30,000. Reserves and surplus is equal to 90,000. Non-current liabilities. Long-term borrowings is equal to 1 lakh. Current liabilities is equal to 1,80,000. The total of the liabilities is equal to 6 lakhs. Number 2. Assets. Non-current assets is equal to 3,40,000. Other non-current assets is equal to 12,000. Current assets is equal to 2,40,000. Other current assets is equal to 8,000. The total of assets is equal to 6 lakhs. Just like the liabilities. As we note, the total of liabilities should be equal to the total of assets. Okay. Now let's see the notes. Notes. 1. Share capital 15,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each is equal to 1,50,000. 11% preference share capital is equal to 80,000. The total is 1,50,000 plus 80,000 is equal to 2,30,000. Note number 2. Reserve and surplus. Reserve is equal to 25,000. Profit for the year is 65,000. If we add this to 25,000 plus 65,000, we'll get the total 90,000. Note number 3. Long-term borrowings. 15% debentures is equal to 1 lakh. Note number 4. Other non-current assets. Share issue expenses 12,000. Note number 5. Other current assets. Share issue expenses is equal to 3,000. Underwriting commission is equal to 5,000. If we add this to 3,000 plus 5,000, we'll get 8,000 total. Calculate number 1, capital employed. Number 2, return on investment. So first of all, we have to calculate capital employed by 2 methods. Actually, you don't have to calculate by 2 methods. You can do any one of them. Understood? But here I'm going to show you how to calculate capital employed by the 2 methods. Number 2, return on investment. So let's do it. Before we start the problem, let me tell you, these notes are known as footnotes. Why these notes are given below the balance sheet? Because the footnotes to the financial statement communicates information necessary for a fair presentation of financial position and results of operations that is not readily apparent from the financial statement or balance sheet. Footnotes or notes to the financial statements disclose the detailed assumption made by accountants when preparing a company's income statement or balance sheet. এই নোটস or footnotes গুলো আমাদের ডিসক্লোজ করে all the information about the company or enterprise. Okay? এই নোটস or footnotes গুলো আমাদের ডিসক্লোজ করে all the details about the company or an enterprise. Okay? Now let's start the problem. Now we are calculating capital employed by the first method, that is the liability side approach. So capital employed is equal to shareholders fund. So shareholders fund is equal to what? Let me say it again. Shareholders fund is equal to equity share capital, preference share capital, plus securities premium, plus general reserve, plus capital reserve, plus other reserves, plus credit balance or positive balance of profit and loss account or profit and loss statement. Okay, now let's go through the problem. Now see, number one, equity and liabilities. Shareholders funds share capital is equal to 2,30,000 and reserve and surplus is equal to 90,000. Now let's go through the footnotes also. Why? Because they will give us the detailed information. Now see, note number one, share capital is equal to 15,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each and 11% preference share is equal to 80,000. If you add up these two, we get 2,30,000. দেখো আমাদের এখানে কি দিয়েছিল? Share capital is equal to 2,30,000. The total figure. But we need to know the detailed information. এখানে আমাদের division করে দেওয়া আছে. Share capital is equal to 15,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each, 1,50,000 plus 11% preference share capital is equal to 80,000. If we add up these two, এই দুটোকে যদি আমরা অ্যাড করি 1,50,000 plus 80,000 আমরা কি পাচ্ছি 2,30,000. তো এখানে আমরা যখন দেখছি শেয়ার ক্যাপিটাল ইজ ইকুয়াল টু 2,30,000 টোটাল ফিগার, কিন্তু আমরা জানি না শেয়ার ক্যাপিটাল কি কি আছে। শেয়ার ক্যাপিটালের আন্ডারে 15,000 ইকুইটি শেয়ার ক্যাপিটাল আছে which is equal to 1,50,000 and 11% preference share capital আছে which is equal to 80,000, কিন্তু সেটা ব্যালেন্স শিটে ডিটেল ইনফরমেশন দেওয়া নেই। দ্যাট ইজ দ্য রিজন we have to go through the notes also, okay, because we got to write separately in the computation of capital employed. Okay, so let's write. So we'll write in the particulars column equity share capital, equity share capital, equity share capital, how much? 1,50,000 and preference share capital 80,000. Okay, preference share capital, preference share capital 80,000 in the outer column or the second column. So we'll write preference share capital 80,000 in the outer column or the second column. Okay, so equity share capital and preference share capital we have done. Securities premium, general reserve, capital reserve, other reserve. Let's see if these items are in the balance sheet or not. See, share capital is given, reserve and surplus is given. So let's go through reserve and surplus. There is no securities premium or general reserve or capital reserve. So let's go through the notes or footnotes because we can get the detailed information. Reserve and surplus is equal to 90,000. Let's go through the notes. So reserve is equal to 25,000. Profit for the year is equal to 65,000. If we add this to 25,000 plus 65,000, we'll get 90,000. So আমাদের কি লিখতে হবে? Reserve plus profit for the year separately in the computation of capital employed. But এখানে কি দিয়েছে? Balance sheet they have given us reserves and surplus is equal to 90,000. That is the total amount. That is the reason we always have to go through the notes because the notes disclose the detailed information. এখানে securities premium নেই, general reserve নেই, capital reserve নেই, but reserves and surplus আছে. এখানে রিজার্ভ অ্যান্ড সারপ্লাসে টোটাল ফিগার দেওয়া হয়েছে, বাট নোটসে detailed information দেওয়া হয়েছে regarding reserves and surplus. So you not only have to go through the balance sheet, but also you have to go through the notes or footnotes. Okay? Because আমরা যখন সামটা করব আমরা অলওয়েজ সেপারেটলি লিখবো, আমরা টোটাল ফিগার লিখবো না। রিজার্ভ অ্যান্ড সারপ্লাস ইজ ইকুয়াল টু 90,000, উই ওয়ন্ট রাইট। আমরা কি লিখবো? রিজার্ভ ইজ ইকুয়াল টু 25,000, profit for the year is equal to 65,000. That will give us 90,000. Okay? So let's write. So reserves is equal to 25,000 and profit for the year $65,000. Okay, we'll write both the amounts in the second column or outer column. Okay, now let's go through the problem again. So shareholders funded, we have written equity share capital, preference share capital, securities premium नहीं हमरा लिखी नहीं, general reserve नहीं हमरा लिखी नहीं, capital reserve नहीं हमरा लिखी नहीं, reserves छिलो हमरा लिखे ची, credit balance or positive balance of profit and loss account or profit and loss statement छिलो हमरा लिखे ची. Okay, now আমাদের কাজ কি? Now let's see the formula of the capital employed. Now what is long term debts or long term loans or long term borrowings? Let's go through it again. Long term debts or long term loans or long term borrowings is equal to debentures plus mortgage loan plus bank loan plus loans from financial institutions plus public deposits. Let's go through the problem again. Long term borrowings is equal to 1 lakh. But let's go through the notes to see the detailed information. See note number 3, long term borrowings. 15% debentures is equal to 1 lakh. এখানে আর কোনো কিছু নেই। Mortgage loan is not here, bank loan is not here, loans from financial institution is not here, and public deposits is also not here. So only we got to write 15% debentures, that is equal to 1 lakh. Because see in the balance sheet they have given us long term borrowings is equal to 1 lakh. কিন্তু কোনো detailed information দেওয়া নেই. But if you go through the notes, we can see number 3, long term borrowings, 15% debentures is equal to 1 lakh. So we have to write 15% debentures is equal to 1 lakh. Okay, so let's write 15% debentures is equal to 1 lakh. Okay, understood? So see, shareholders funds is equal to equity share capital. We have written preference share capital. We have written securities premium is not in the problem. That is the reason we have not written. General reserve is not in the problem. That is the reason we have not written. Capital reserve is not there. So we have not written. Other reserves, of course, is in the problem. We have written credit balance or positive balance of profit and loss account is in the problem and we have written. So shareholders fund completed. And long term loans also we have completed. Now let's see the formula again. Now see, capital employed is equal to shareholders funds that we have done plus long term debts or loans that we have done also minus fictitious assets or unamortized expenses. So let's see what is fictitious assets or unamortized expenses. Fictitious assets or unamortized expenses is equal to underwriting commission plus share issue expenses plus preliminary expenses plus discount on issue of shares. Now let's go through the problem. Fictitious assets will be on the asset sides of the balance sheet. Okay, so assets. So number 2, assets. Non-current assets 3,40,000. Other current assets is equal to 12,000. Current assets is equal to 2,40,000. Other current assets is equal to 8,000. Please remember, fictitious assets or unamortized expenses will come under other non-current assets or other current assets. Let's go through the notes to see the detailed information. Note number 4, other non-current assets, share issue expenses 12,000. Okay. Let's go through the balance sheet again. Other current assets is equal to 8,000. Now let's go through the footnotes. Number 5, other current assets is equal to share issue expenses 3,000. Underwriting commission is equal to 5,000. That is 8,000. So share issue expenses twice. 12,000 plus 3,000. Okay. So share issue expenses will be 15,000. 12,000 plus 3,000. And underwriting commission will be 5,000. Okay. So let's write. And now please remember, fictitious assets or unamortized assets will be deducted. We are not going to add fictitious assets or unamortized assets. Rather, we are going to deduct fictitious assets or unamortized expenses. Okay. And one more thing. যদি এখানে প্রফিট না হয়ে লস হতো আমরা মাইনাস লস ফর দ্য ইয়ার করতাম, বাট এখানে প্রফিট হয়েছে সেই জন্য আমাদের অ্যাকুমুলেটেড লসেস নেই। ওকে, আমাদের আরেকটা জিনিস আছে নন কারেন্ট ইনভেস্টমেন্টস ও নন ট্রেড ইনভেস্টমেন্টস, বাট এই পার্টিকুলার প্রবলেমে নন ট্রেড ইনভেস্টমেন্টস নেই। সো উই হ্যাভ টু ডিডাক্ট ফিকটিশিয়াস অ্যাসেটস ওনলি। There is no accumulated losses and no non-trade investments. Okay. So let's deduct share issue expenses 12,000 plus 3,000. Do you remember? 12,000 plus 3,000. Okay. Let me show you. Say, other non-current assets, share issue expenses 12,000. Other current assets, share issue expenses 3,000. So 12,000 plus 3,000 is equal to 15,000. And underwriting commission is 5,000. Okay. So we'll write share issue expenses in the first column. That is 15,000. 12,000 plus 3,000 will give us 15,000. And we'll also write underwriting commission. Underwriting commission is 5,000. Okay. Fine. If we add up equity share capital plus preference share capital plus reserves plus profit for the year plus 15% debentures, we'll get 4,20,000. Okay. 4,20,000. If we add up share issue expenses and underwriting commission, we'll get 15,000 plus 5,000, 20,000. Okay. Now, if you deduct this rupees 20,000 from 4,20,000, we'll get 4 lakhs. So, if you deduct rupees 20,000 from 4,20,000, we'll get 4 lakhs. Okay. Now, what is this? 4 lakhs. This is capital employed. This is capital employed. So, capital employed is equal to 4 lakhs. So, capital employed is equal to 4 lakhs by the first method, that is liabilities side approach. Okay. Now, let's see how to compute capital employed by the second method, that is asset side approach. Okay. What is the second method? Second method or the asset side approach. Capital employed is equal to non-current assets plus working capital minus non-current investments or non-trade investments. This is the formula. So what is capital employed by the second method? Capital employed is equal to non-current assets plus working capital minus non-current investments, that is non-trade investment, or capital employed is equal to non-current assets plus current assets minus current liabilities minus non-current investments or non-trade investments, because instead of working capital, we have written current assets minus current liabilities. Why? Because we know working capital is equal to current assets minus current liabilities. Okay? Non-current assets is equal to fixed assets. Fixed assets is equal to tangible assets plus intangible assets. Okay? Working capital is equal to current assets minus current liabilities. Non-current investments is equal to non-trade investments or investments made outside the business. Okay? Current assets is equal to cash in hand plus cash at bank plus current investments plus short-term investments plus marketable securities plus trade receivables minus provision for doubtful debts plus inventories, that is closing stock of finished goods plus closing stock of raw materials plus closing stock of work in progress plus prepaid expenses plus accrued interest. Okay? Please note. Note A. Trade receivables include sundry debtors and bills receivable. माने कि trade receivables is equal to sundry debtors plus bills receivable. তোমাকে এইভাবেও দিতে পারে সেপারেটলি সানড্রি ডেটার্স প্লাস বিলস রিসিভেবল। তখন তুমি কি করবে? কারেন্ট অ্যাসেটে সানড্রি ডেটার্স মাইনাস provision for doubtful debts. If sundry debtors is given in the problem and provision for doubtful debts is also given in the problem, then you got to deduct provision for doubtful debts from sundry debtors. If trade receivables is given in the problem and provision for doubtful debts is also given in the problem, then you got to deduct provision for doubtful debts from trade receivables. Okay? Otherwise, trade receivables is equal to sundry debtors plus bills receivable. Okay? Note, closing inventories is equal to closing stock always. Jodi opening stock, closing stock there. You got to always take closing stock. তুমি সব সময় closing stock নেবে, not opening stock. Okay, current asset এ সব সময় closing stock হয়, opening stock হয় না। যদি শুধু ইনভেন্টরি দেয় বা স্টক দেয়, তোমাকে অ্যাজিউম করে নিতে হবে ওটা ক্লোজিং স্টক বা ক্লোজিং ইনভেন্টরি। ওকে? অ্যান্ড অলওয়েজ এক্সক্লুড from closing stock or closing inventory loose tools, stores and spares. Okay? This is note number B. Note number C. Short-term loans and advances are also current assets. Note number D. Cash and equivalents shall be classified as cash in hand or cash at bank or checks or drafts in hand. Okay? Current liabilities is equal to bank overdraft plus trade payables plus provision for taxation plus proposed dividends plus unclaimed dividends plus outstanding expenses plus pre-received income or income received in advance plus loans payable within a year or short-term borrowings. Note A. Trade payables include sundry creditors and bills payable. Means trade payables is equal to sundry creditors plus bills payable. তোমাকে প্রবলেমে বিলস পেয়েবল সেপারেটলি দিতে পারে, সানড্রি ক্রেডিটরসও সেপারেটলি দিতে পারে। What is non-current assets? Non-current assets are long-term investments that companies can use for a year or more. Companies cannot easily convert these assets into cash, but they are valuable for their contribution to long-term strategic growth and future financial development. Non-current assets are fixed assets. Okay? Non-current assets is equal to fixed assets. Fixed assets are classified into two categories: tangible assets plus intangible assets. So fixed assets is equal to tangible assets plus intangible assets. Tangible assets are physical items, companies own assets that last for a long time and benefit the company for a long time. That is land, building, plant and machinery, equipment. Please remember, tangible assets have physical existence. Please remember, intangible assets are long-term investments that don't have a physical form or physical existence, but that increase the value of a company by increasing the amount of recognition the company receives, which can justify the company increasing its prices thus making more money. The examples of intangible assets are patents, goodwill, trademarks, etc. Okay? What is working capital? Working capital is equal to current assets minus current liabilities. Working capital is the capital of a business which is used in its day-to-day trading operations. Okay? Non-current investments is equal to non-trade investments. What is non-trade investments? Non-trade investments, I've already told you, non-trade investments are those investments that are invested to earn income by investing surplus funds, but the investments are not for the purpose of expansion and advancement of own business. Okay? What is current assets? Current assets are short-term assets. They are assets that companies expect to convert to cash in a year or less. Current assets support companies' day-to-day expenses. Companies possess and acquire current assets with the goal to either use or sell them quickly. Examples of current assets are cash in hand, cash at a bank, current investments, short-term investments, marketable securities, trade receivables, closing stock, prepaid expenses, accrued interests, etc. Okay? Now, what is current liabilities? Current liabilities include those liabilities which are repayable in a year's time. Okay? Understood? Now, let's calculate capital employed by the second method, that is asset side approach. So, second method, asset side approach. Capital employed is equal to non-current assets plus working capital minus non-current investments. Okay, let's do it. And working capital is equal to current assets minus current liabilities. Okay, or there is another formula. Capital employed is equal to non-current assets plus current assets minus current liabilities minus non-current investments or non-trade investments. Okay, now let's do it. So first we have to see non-current assets from the problem. Let's go through it. Now we have to see the asset side. Since we are computing capital employed by the second method, that is asset side approach, first we got to find out non-current assets. So number 2 assets, non-current assets is equal to 3,40,000. Let's go through the notes. See, share capital, reserve and surplus, long-term borrowings, we did it. Other non-current assets, other current assets. Ar kichu nahi ekhane. So we don't have to see the notes. We have finished. So non-current assets is equal to 3,40,000. Detail e amader kichu bolar nei. When we calculated the capital employed by the first method, that is the liabilities side approach, we have gone through the notes. Note number 1 to note number 5. There are no other notes. So amader ar kono notes dekhte hobe na. Straight away amra balance sheet dekhbo. Non-current assets 3,40,000. Note non-current assets se ar kichu lekha nei. Okay, so let's write 3,40,000. Non-current assets is equal to 3,40,000. Okay, understood? Now see, capital employed is equal to non-current assets plus working capital minus non-current investments. Non-current investment or non-trade investment নেই, সেটা আমরা আগে দেখেছি। Now working capital problem এ দেওয়া নেই। কি দেওয়া আছে? Current assets and current liabilities. And as we know, working capital is equal to current assets minus current liabilities. Okay? So let's go through the problem. So number 2 assets, non-current assets 3,40,000. We did it. Other non-current assets 12,000. ওটা আমরা liability side approach এ করে নিয়েছি। Current assets 2,40,000. And other current assets 8,000. ওটা আমরা liability side approach এ করে নিয়েছি। So current assets is equal to 2,40,000. আমাদের আর কোনো notes বা footnotes দেখতে হবে না, because from note number 1 to note number 5 we have gone through it all. Okay, তো কারেন্ট অ্যাসেটসের কোনো ফুটনোট নেই, সো কারেন্ট অ্যাসেটসের কোনো নোটস নেই, এটাই ইনফরমেশন, কোনো ডিটেল ইনফরমেশন নেই। সো কারেন্ট অ্যাসেটস ইজ ইকুয়াল টু 2,40,000 অ্যান্ড কারেন্ট লাইবিলিটিস ইজ ইকুয়াল টু 1,80,000। আন্ডারস্টুড? বিকজ কারেন্ট লাইবিলিটিসের আর কোনো নোটস নেই, কোনো ডিটেল ইনফরমেশন দেওয়া নেই। সো কারেন্ট অ্যাসেটস ইজ ইকুয়াল টু 2,40,000, current liabilities is equal to 1,80,000. Let's write. So add working capital. How much? Working capital, let's do it in the rough work. Working number 1. Working capital is equal to current assets minus current liabilities. Okay. Therefore, working capital is equal to current assets 2,40,000 minus current liabilities is equal to rupees 1,80,000. That is how much? That is 60,000. So, therefore, working capital is equal to rupees 60,000. So, we have to do the working capital in the rough work. 60,000. Now, let's write working capital here. So, let's write working capital. So, let's write working capital. So, let's write rupees 60,000 in the first column first, then write 60,000 in the outer column. Now, how much we'll get? Now, if we add non-current assets plus working capital, how much we'll get? We'll get 3,40,000 plus 60,000, that is 4 lakhs. Now, what is this 4 lakhs? 4 lakhs is capital employed by the second method, asset side approach. Okay. So, capital employed is equal to 4 lakhs by the second method, that is the asset side approach. And now let's see the first method as well. It should be equal. See, computation of capital employed by the first method, that is the liability side approach, is equal to 4 lakhs. Capital employed is equal to 4 lakhs. Now let's see the capital employed by the second method. It should be 4 lakhs. Now see, computation of capital employed by the second method, that is the asset side approach. Capital employed is equal to 4 lakhs. Now you might ask me question, which method you're going to use? You can use any one of the methods, either the first method or the second method. But তোমাকে দেখতে হবে, যদি তুমি ফার্স্ট মেথড ইউজ করো, দ্যাট ইজ দ্য লাইবিলিটি সাইড অ্যাপ্রোচ, তোমাকে লাইবিলিটি সাইড অ্যাপ্রোচে যা যা আইটেমস আছে তার সব ইনফরমেশন দেওয়া আছে কিনা প্রবলেমে। যদি থাকে, ইউ ক্যান ইউজ ইজিলি দ্য ফার্স্ট মেথড, দ্যাট ইজ দ্য লাইবিলিটি সাইড অ্যাপ্রোচ। আর যদি তুমি সেকেন্ড মেথড ইউজ করতে চাও, তাহলে তোমাকে দেখতে হবে অ্যাসেট সাইডের সব ইনফরমেশন দেওয়া আছে কিনা। যদি থাকে, ইউ ক্যান ইউজ easily the second method, that is the asset side approach. যদি liabilities সাইডের সব ইনফরমেশন থাকে and asset সাইডেরও সব ইনফরমেশন থাকে, তাহলে তুমি যে কোনো একটা মেথড ইউজ করতে পারো, ফার্স্ট মেথড অর সেকেন্ড মেথড, দ্য চয়েস ইজ ইয়ার্স। দুটো মেথড করতে হবে না, আমি দুটো মেথড করলাম জাস্ট টু শো ইউ। তুমি ফার্স্ট মেথড ইউজ করলেও ক্যাপিটাল এমপ্লয়েড 4 lakhs আসবে, তুমি সেকেন্ড মেথড ইউজ করলেও ক্যাপিটাল এমপ্লয়েড 4 lakhs আসবে। ওকে, বোথ আর কারেক্ট। Understood? I hope you understood. I won't be computing return on investment in this particular video, but I will show how to calculate return on investment with the same problem in the next video. I will definitely show the calculation of return on investment in my next video because this video is already very long. Okay? So don't miss it. Keep watching my videos. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your precious time. I sincerely hope this was helpful. And before I fade out, best of luck to all the students of CBSE, ISC, ICSE and all the students of other state boards too. I'm sure you all will come out with flying colors. My best wishes are always with you. Bye-bye. Take care, stay safe and stay blessed always.